I guess it is kind of later than everybody's in the US, right?
Yeah, they're in school.
So they're all since yeah, it's early in the morning.
It's all right. They'll catch it on YouTube.
It's the East Coast time.
Well, let me get this logo going here so we know the branding's nice and right. We are joined today by none other than phenomenal standout USA track and field athlete, my former college teammate, and one of my best friends, Waleed Suliman, fresh off of his 335, 1500-meter performance win in just south of Frankfurt, Germany. He's out here in Europe on a racing circuit. Waleed, how are we doing today, my friend? How's your time in Amsterdam?
Pretty good, can't complain. I've been here for slightly less than 24 hours, but it's been great, great hospitality as well.
Yes, staying with the CEO, you always be treated right. What's something about the city that you've learned? What's your initial takes on it? We picked Waleed up in a boat when we got here, straight from the train station. It's a different place than America, isn't it?
Very much, yes. Yeah, a lot of cyclists. They'll all get run over from the
Yeah.
US, to be honest with you, yeah. But it's beautiful. I feel like that's the beautiful part about it is that there's a lot of pedestrians walking around. There's a lot of cyclists are biking around. And there's like, very little cars. Like it's a true European city.
Where have you been so far in Europe and where are you off to for the next 10 days before you head back to see your parents in Virginia?
Yeah, so I flew into Brussels. I was there for a night, just to check out the city. And then after that I went to Leuven, was there for 3 days, and then race on August 16th. Race didn't go as well as we were hoping for in Leuven. The weather was kind of just crap. It was really windy. No one really ran that fast. And for me, like personally, I feel like just couldn't really get off the jet lag. So it was my worst performance this year so far. As I ran 340, which
Was
that
that the same meet that
yeah.
John fell in?
No, I think
Okay.
that's a completely different meet. I don't know where exactly was
It was
John when he was here.
it was in Belgium, I know that.
Not sure where exactly though.
Where does a 340 1500 place you in a competitive meet in Belgium?
Shoot, I was pretty dang near dead last.
Really?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
was in the race?
Let's see. Sam Tanner was in the race. Um, Trying to think of who else was in there.
Just a bunch of
There's a bunch
Europeans
of
that are
European and a
like,
couple Americans as well too. I know like some of the guys that train with Jerry Schumacher up in Eugene. They were in that race as well. I don't really recall who won the race, but the race didn't win by that much. It was 337 for the win. So, and in a professional setting, that's kind of slow, but it just shows you like just how tough the conditions were, and everybody
yeah.
else was kind of like, still struggling in some type of way.
Yeah, you've raced over in Europe for, I guess, would it be maybe 3 summers now, at least two?
2 summers, yeah, yeah. Last year I did a little tour around Scandinavia.
How do they do things differently over here versus in the States in terms of professional track and field?
I think regardless of how big or small the meet is in Europe, you're always going to see a lot of people come in and watch. And I think there's more of a fan base for athletics here than they are in the US. And I think for us in the US, like, all what people really care about and talk about constantly is, football, basketball, baseball. And it's like seasonal. Like right now, we're about to enter the playoffs for baseball. We're about to start college football soon, and we're about to start NFL. So there's really no time for, for those people to like really pay attention to running because they just don't really get much out of it. Um, but yeah, I think it's very much more appreciated what we do as athletes here in Europe than it is in the US.
So the spectator experience is definitely more vibrant, more lively. Is there any differences that you notice in the athlete experience? Do they have you any sort of check-in processes that are different, or the way they start races, or the way they seed races, or is it pretty standard universally in terms of how you do a track meet?
I'd say it's the same in a way. Obviously, like in the US, there's more of like a structure of like this is when you arrive, this is when you check in, this is when you do things. But then here in Europe, at least for the challengers meet that I've been doing this year, it's been like you come to the track, you grab your bib number, and then you just wait on the track till your race is supposed to start.
It's like
You
a
don't
high
even
school
get,
meet.
yeah, literally,
Yeah,
it's exactly what it feels
yeah.
like. But that's fun because you're kind of in a way just like interacting with the fans and like everybody else is like, in the track meet, like everybody knows everyone, or you just get introduced to new people. Like I feel like it's been a great opportunity coming into Europe like last year doing a few summer races and then like coming in this year as well too, is that like I've had the chance to like make a lot of friends that, if I didn't come here and like put myself in these races, I would have probably never met those people. So
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of pressure and tension in NCAA meets or what I have experienced. And then I would imagine US championships, like you have to be at the track 90 minutes before the race. You have to have gotten your bib 70 minutes before the race. You have to get called into the call room 25 minutes before the race. Then you have to sig in the room with all the people you're competing against
for
where
like
you
15 minutes
for
before
like
you go.
15 minutes
Yeah.
and you're just like a bull in a china shop. Whereas here, the big race of the season, USA's, is already behind you, and we're sort of chasing PBs. Obviously, like Yard, Naguse, and Hobbs Kessler have a ton of pressure in all the races they're in because they're still trying to qualify for Tokyo. But does it almost feel like everything to gain, nothing to lose, and you can run freely, and there's not so much pressure on every single race? And does that make the racing experience more enjoyable, or do you prefer when it's like you've got a US final on the line, there you're in Hayward Field with thousands of people, all this media presence? What's the difference in the sort of pressure that you feel as an athlete between a US championship and a Belgium, Germany,
Yeah.
random time trial style race where you're trying to run fast?
Yeah. I'd say from a pressure standpoint, because let's say pressure and like feeling nervous, I'd say are completely different things. Um, Pressure, I mean, there's always going to be pressure on you. Like if you're running collegiately or if you're running professionally, there's going to be pressure. Collegiately, like you got the pressure of like, wanting to score for the team, wanting to do good enough so you can hopefully like, land a contract and become a professional runner after your collegiate career comes to an end. And then as a professional athlete as well too, you got the pressure from your sponsors in a way where it's like you kind of have to live up to your contract. There are like certain minimums that you kind of have to like meet. Like you gotta run good, you gotta make the US championship, and you gotta, US championship should not really be your only goal. You gotta like look into like, making the team, and then beyond the team is getting to the final. Past the final is, hopefully medaling or winning the whole thing. Like if you're not thinking that way as a professional runner, you probably shouldn't be a professional runner, I'd say, because you always want more and you should thrive for more. But from a nervous standpoint, I'd say like if if you don't get nervous, you're not alive. You're kind of,
Yeah, you don't
you're
care.
soulless. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
really care. But like there is an aspect of it too where like you can't let it control you. And I feel like when I was in college, I kind of like let the nervousness kind of control me. And then there's all these negative thoughts that would go through my head at like, at the starting line of like, what if I fall? What if I don't get in the position that I wanted to be in? What if I don't do really good? What's going to happen after? What the consequences of that? Instead of thinking like, all right, I got to get on this spot, I got to start my kick right here and just imagining what's it like to like win the race. I feel like the first 2 years of my collegiate career was that just nervous, letting it control me and so on. And then past that is when like start working with like a sports psych and starts to help you control these kind of like nerves. And I feel like I've gotten to the point right now where like I'll still meet with a sports psych like weekly, but like I'm starting to become less and less nervous when I go to these races. Instead of being nervous on my way to the location of where the meet is, which is 3 days before, I'm becoming like nervous probably like 3 or 4 hours before. Like right after my shakeout, I'm just like, all right, like what's the race plan? Let's walk through this, how my body feels, so on, yada yada, and anything that needs attention, I'll pay attention to. Um, but I'm also like, I know how good I am as a runner and I know where I stand and I know how I'm going to perform at the race when I'm going there. Like if I said I'm going to run good, I'm going to run good. And if I don't feel good, I would just say it. I don't really feel good today, but I'm going to go and make the most out of it. And like, the days that I didn't feel good, some of them were really bad. I ended up getting really bad results. Like example, when I went to like Leuven and ran 340, but then like, you know, there was last year, there was one day where I felt absolutely horrible. It was so hot. We were in Memphis, Tennessee last year, but that's where my 15 PR is. It was 3:33,
Yeah.
So you can't as well to like when you feel bad, that's where I said like you kind of gotta have to figure out a way to like control it.
Yeah.
So and like make the most out of the situation that's given to you.
I hear so many stories about athletes who feel complete shit on their warm up, and they're like, there was one story of one of Gag's athletes that was like, I think his name was Ford something. He was like 5'5", built like a bowling ball. Ford Palmer ran like
Yeah,
354 mile, and before the race, he was like, I feel like complete. It might have been Kyle Murray. He was like, I feel like complete shit. Like I can't run today, coach. Goes and runs a massive PR.
yeah,
You said you think there's a difference between pressure and nerves.
yeah.
What are some things that you think make you feel pressure in a competition? And what are some things that you think make it possible for you to feel nerves before a competition?
I think I don't have any pressure when I go into like US championship because one of my teammates said it best, Josh Kerr. He said, in the races that he goes to, he said he's not mainly worried about the people who are as fast as he is, but he's more worried about the underdogs because they're the ones that no one's really paying attention to. And they have absolutely no pressure on them, and all the pressure is on the guys who are expected to win or make a team. So when I go into these races, like I'm the underdog of the underdogs. So I'm just, going in there, I'm just like, it's kill or get killed. Survival of the fittest. You're just going in there and trying to make the most out of it and see what comes out of it. And like the only pressure I have is, I'd say, is like just wanting to like live up to my contract and saying that like I am worthy of my contract and I am worthy of my contract. Um, but yeah, I don't feel any pressure when I go into these races like that because I'm the underdog of the underdogs.
Yeah, now you
So
know what it feels like to be me. Yeah.
yeah, it's ruthless out there, dude.
Yeah. I've heard it's more difficult to retain and defend a championship title than it is to get it for the first time.
Very much, yeah. Because when all eyes are on you, all eyes are on you and you want to
Yeah.
live up to the hype.
And you've been there before as well in the
Yeah,
SEC and the
yeah, yeah.
NCAA. Um, just want to make sure we don't lose our beautiful WesFly.Trained logo right here. I have to keep pressing it to make sure it stays on the TV. So I'm going to jump ahead to one of the questions I
Okay.
had because I think it's relevant to what we've just now been talking about it. I wrote down, as someone who runs for a living and has done so for quite some time now, because you were on a scholarship in college, and in a way, it is a way to support yourself. How do you mentally attack the fact that your livelihood is directly affected by the performances that you run on the track? Not to put pressure on you.
Yeah, yeah, no, 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 you're fine. I mean, yeah. This is my contract year. And I'm gonna enter negotiation once October 1st hits. And, you know, I look back in the past like 4.5 years that I've been with Brooks, and you try and like, you know, the first few years did not go as well as I was hoping for, just because I got caught with like injury chain, just stress reaction after stress reaction after the other, after the other, after the other. It was just absolutely hectic. But then I finally like caught traction like last year and was able to like make it to US champs, make it to the second round. Go throughout the summer, run a few PBs here and there. Like this past indoor was the same way. Like I PR'd in indoor mile, I PR'd in like the 3K. And now it's like get to the point where you're like, all right, like I want to get re-signed with Brooks or with any other company so on. I want to continue like my professional career because I know I still got a lot left in the tank. Um, but then that's where like your best well, but it's hard to try to explain it to other people and people who are in charge of your contracts that like, hey, I'm worthy of getting re-signed for another 2, 3, 4, whatever many years you can get.
Because all they see is numbers on a piece of
All they see
paper.
is numbers
Yeah.
on pieces of paper, but then, they don't know what you've gone through. They don't know that you've gone hurt this many times or so on. And you just try your best to like explain to them your situation and so on. And just like sucks that I have all these excuses for this. They're just like, I just want to like be consistent because that's been like my fucking nemesis is trying to just stay consistent. It's constantly like 6 months of training and then boom, I'm out for like a week or two, three. And then I get back into it again and then boom, I'm out for another week. And it's just like, yeah, it's physically and mentally tolling going through like injuries, but yeah, this is where like right now I'm like, all right, next year, like am I gonna be like trying to find a 9 to 5 job, or
No way.
or I'm gonna be like, still continuing and chasing the dream.
Yeah.
So
In a way, is there any part of you that's grateful for everything that you experienced the first 2 years of your professional career? Because, like we were talking about yesterday or this morning when you were in the apartment doing all sorts of different recovery activations. You had a band. We never did bands in
yeah,
college. You were doing all sorts of stuff that we never knew about because you learned how to maintain your body and how to like lower the chances of injury. Obviously, we're saying there's some things that you just can't control, but or do you wish like, man, I really wish I never got hurt and I was just consistent the whole time?
it's it's both, to be honest with you. And obviously, I wish I never gotten hurt, and I wish I was consistent because I don't really know where I would be in my career right now, you know.
But it's
But part
possible,
of
it's possible that you could have been on fire like I
yeah,
was my freshman year at Ole Miss
yeah,
and everything came easy to you. And then you never really learned how to deal with pressure, how to deal with
basically,
injury.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's where the other part I'm saying is like I said, both the other part is like I'm kind of in a way thankful that I went through that because like I feel like I have grown as a person from all that stuff.
Yeah.
I very much was a child, like dealing with a bunch of random stuff. It just like I would think about things and deal with them emotionally than logically. Um, and I feel like going through these injuries and like, it got to a point where like I felt like I burned a few bridges, certain people because of all the frustration that was building up is that, I came off of the best, years of my profession, like out of my senior year of college, and then going into like my rookie year as a pro, and it just like all was horrible from the beginning to the end. And I was like just frustrated and taking my anger out on people that, didn't really deserve that and burned some bridges and so on. And I feel like, you know, I got to a point where like I look back at all the stuff that happened and like realize that's not the person that I want to be. Um, and yeah, like just I learned a lot from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely learned a lot from that. So
Yeah. I think you really, not to say that your true colors are being mean to someone, but I think it's like really, you're really in your rawest state when like things are not going well.
yeah,
Like, I really want to see, if I'm judging someone's character, I want to see them when they're like going through it, not when they're on fire and just
yeah,
showing up and it's like the easiest thing ever. Okay, so I want to, the biggest thing I want to talk to you today about, obviously, we've known each other for 7 years now. You're in my wedding. We know each other on a very personal level. I have never lived or gone deep inside the mind of someone who is a professional runner. I think I have an idea of what it's like. I think that at the college level, in a way, we were training at the professional level, but I really want to go deep into like day-to-day basis, yearly schedule, like what your life looks like now. Because I lived with you for 4 years. I knew
yeah,
exactly what your life looked like in college. I ran 90% of the miles that you ran with you.
yeah,
So tell me some concrete differences in your day-to-day training. When we think of the weekly training we did in college, we did long run Sunday, Monday, mileage run and drills, Tuesday, strength workout, Wednesday, active recovery, Thursday, medium long run, some hill strides, Friday, race
workout,
specific
yeah,
workout, like the intense ones,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
some speed development, Saturday, active recovery
yeah.
day. How do you structure your weeks now in a typical training week? Obviously, when you're racing and traveling, it's a little bit different, but let's say it's January, you're not racing indoor yet, but you're gearing up for it. You're doing a full training week. Are you going in 7 day cycles?
Yes, we are. And
Okay.
honestly, in a way, like we're following the exact same program that we did in college with,
Wow.
Danny's training. Sunday long run, Monday easy run, Tuesday workout, Wednesday easy, Thursday medium long, Friday workout, Saturday easy. Same
Is
thing.
it almost
All
just
laid
a
out.
progression of the training and you can just do more now?
In a way, yes, but it's different slightly because depending on the time of the year. Where when we're in college, obviously, like all year long, you've got something to do. You got cross country, you got indoors, you got outdoors, and then you got the summer break, and then you come back again and repeat. Here, it's a little different where it's like, instead of your season being done right after NCAAs or right after USAs in college, as a professional, you're gonna keep going throughout the rest of the summer until like end of September or so. Fifth Ave is usually where most of us kind of like end our season, which is big first week of September, so on, September 7th for this year. And I'm calling it a season after that. But then it's like I'm taking a week off. And then after that, it's just like, you kind of building the foundation for the next year. So it's a lot of strength work, a lot of hill repeats, a lot of tempos. But in a way, it's also very casual. We're all like constantly hanging out together every other day or so. After Friday after workout, we're all like talking about like what restaurant we're gonna go and trying to like grab food with, and what are we gonna do after that, and so on. And it's very chill, and like the whole team and the whole coaching staff, all of us just hang out together.
Would that be
Um,
like October to December timeframe?
Basically, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So usually it'd be like we start meeting for practice like the first week of October, but because Worlds doesn't end till September 21st this year, I don't think we're gonna meet till November 3rd. So it's gonna be a whole month later. Which is weird trying to like navigate throughout, but all of that started last year because we knew how late Worlds is, and you're trying to like structure the whole year like leading up to that. So yeah, we're gonna start a little bit late, but that doesn't mean that like, personally you're still gonna be like, getting back to like working out the first week of October and so. But I mean working out, I mean like easy stuff until November comes in, and then you start doing like, the longer stuff, the longer hills, the longer tempos, and so on and so on. This year there's like World Cross.
In Tallahassee, right?
It's in Tallahassee. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. I was gonna say Australia, but that was like 2 years ago, I think. But yes, it's in Tallahassee. And USA Cross is in December 3rd, I think. And it's in Portland, or it's in Portland. Yeah, it's in Oregon. And obviously you got like the mixed relays, which is 4x2K. And then
Yes.
you got obviously like the real race, which is the 10K. And I don't know which one I'm gonna do. But regardless, like once October comes in, I'm basically gonna start training for that
Yeah.
and hope I can make the team either in the 2K or the 10K, but still don't really know what my best chances
Yeah.
is like either one of them.
Also, like you'll kind of train for it, but you'll mostly be training for 2026. You're not
Basically,
gonna
yeah,
you're not
yeah.
gonna act like it's the NCAA championship. Or are
Uh,
you?
I am
It's a big
personally for
deal.
me, yes,
Okay.
yeah. I'm definitely gonna like try and like make the team because
But from
eventually
a
like
training focus,
yes,
maybe it's not, or it is.
it is for me. It is 100%.
So it could be cross country 10K.
Could be cross country taking because that's
Okay.
when I up my mileage. My mileage goes
Yeah.
up to like 80, 85 during
Yeah.
the fall. But then once we get back to like, track training for indoors and outdoors, I come back down to like, 60, 65.
Okay.
But yeah, then once we like hit like January 1st is usually when like immediately like switching into track stuff. And you're doing more sprints, building more strength and so on. Obviously majority of us, because we're a middle distance team, you go from like strength stuff to start doing speed stuff. But for me, like indoors, I stick with strength stuff. So I do the 3K
Yeah.
mostly. So I will continue like somewhat of a high mileages, but like I will still have like longer tempos and I'll have longer workouts and stuff like that. Example, like this past indoor season, it would have been like 2 weeks before we went, or 3 weeks before we went to Boston, or 2 weeks. One of them. We, me and Dylan Maggard, we did this workout, and it was 2x150 at 19.
Fast.
Yeah, indoors. We're doing it at the convention center in Albuquerque. So it's at 5,000 feet as well.
So more like 20 seconds.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. We were running 19.
Yeah, but it's when you do it at
Oh, I
150,
guess,
you
yeah, that's
lose you
true.
lose
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah, because
conversion.
you're not pushing as much
Yeah,
air.
that's where Brandon Miller
Um,
ran like 113 or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
600.
And then after that, we did a mile, 401.
Okay. It's like 358 conversion or
Yeah,
something.
basically. It was a,
356,
I think it's 5.6 seconds or something
possibly
like that. Yeah.
355.
It's whatever. It was crazy. And then we did 2x150 and then a 400. I think the 400 ran like 53, something like that. It was a crazy workout. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
We felt amazing.
And that was what month?
That was like beginning of February into January, somewhere around there. So, but leading up to that, the one workout that I found ourselves doing like every other week or so would be like 8x200. Sorry, 8x800 at like 206 down to like two flattish.
So like 4 miles at a
basically.
3K
Yeah.
pace average,
Yep.
which is
So,
cooking.
and we started doing that in December
Yeah.
because I stayed in Seattle during like Christmas. And Dylan obviously like lives in Seattle. So both me and him just like, pull out together and
Yeah.
basically like went out through the whole season, did everything together. But yeah, but yeah, so basically indoors I continue like strength training and so on, and then once outdoor comes in is when I start switching to like the 15, which means a little bit more speed stuff, and that's when like the 4.32s come in and so on.
Do you still add mileage year over year? Because it sounds like you're actually have not jumped up a ton since college, or you probably did like 70, 75 in cross country base building and like 60, 65 in track, 13-mile long run. Sounds like you're doing kind of similar mileage. Is that accurate?
Um, I definitely did more in
In
college.
college.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got up to 95 in college and cross.
Okay. I remember at least freshman year, they were
Yeah,
being
no, freshman
very,
year, yeah, we
very
were,
reserved with you.
yes.
They're like, just keep you healthy. And
Yeah, because I literally like did like what 25, 30
dude, you
miles
did
a
like
week.
30 miles a
Barely did
week training for
anything.
cross country.
Never ran Saturdays and Sundays, just single runs, yeah. Yeah, no, did not do anything in high school. Literally, it
Yeah.
was strange. Now I'm like looking back at it, I'm like, should have I done more? But I'm like, nah, I'm
No.
kind of happy with the way
Yeah.
everything went.
Leave
But
some skin
never,
on the bone.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then yeah, freshman year of like college I was doing like 50, and then sophomore year I was doing 70. Junior year is when I went up to like 90 during cross, and then senior year is when I got up to like 90, 95-ish a little bit. We kind of like slowed it back down a little because I had like a couple Achilles like flare-ups here and there. But but yeah, like we would hammer like 18-mile long runs, but was always the one that was a little bit conservative. I'm like, I'm not gonna go faster than some
Yeah.
flat average. All the
Yeah.
guys flying like 550s, 545s for
Yeah.
18 miles.
I think it makes sense for like someone as talented as you are though to not kill yourself on the long runs.
Yeah, and this is what we do that as well too here. Like as a pro, we don't really like hammer long runs that often. Danny would try and like give you instructions before of like let's try and like hammer Sunday long run 2 weeks from now, something like that. And that's the way he looks at it is that way is that I'm not just figuring out what your workouts is going to be for this week, but what's going to be the week after that and the week after that as well.
Yeah.
And trying to like structure everything that way.
Yeah.
And it's good. In college, like we didn't really know what the workout was until like, you finish your warm up, everybody stands in a circle, and then, they
Yeah.
would like let us know what the workout is. But now it's like I know my whole workout a week before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that sort of allows you to really have a structured build up. Like he has a 3 week goal for
mhm.
you and a plan, and he wants you to go execute it. Whereas if you're writing it each week, it's kind of like less organized or
Yeah.
routine. Like you maybe don't have as clean of a progression as you would want in that 3 week training block. Um, One of the questions that I had for you about training was, do you obviously you train very hard at Ole Miss? I would say we trained really hard. I don't know how it was for you, but
Yeah.
some of those workouts were like buckle up, buckaroo, because we're
Yeah.
getting ready to run a 1500 and we're 10
Yeah.
days out from the race. Do you still do that? Do you still train like, I mean, 401 mile in a workout at altitude, 8x800 at 203 average? You still train pretty hard in workouts?
Yeah. We still train pretty hard. Yeah. I mean, I'd say like, yeah, some of the workouts that we have done with Danny have been like, yeah, just absolute chaos, and you know it. Like that's the thing is that like when you look at the rest, your schedule on Sunday. Sunday night is when Danny usually like posts on your file like what your workout and the rest of the week is going to look like, and you'll see Friday is usually the day where it's like, shit,
Buckle up,
yeah,
same
it's gonna
same
be crazy. I
schedule.
know, but you see it on Sunday, and you're like the whole week, you're like, all right, like got to make sure I feel good for that workout. And you
Yeah,
prepare for it as a race. Like there's been times where like, the workout, is going to be so hard that you wake up in the morning early, you go, you check out, and you literally prepare as if it's a race. Because you kind
yeah,
of have to. You
yeah,
have to treat practice like it's a race. Um, and you just go in there with that mindset and you just kill the workout.
yeah.
So
What's a workout that's sent you into the shadow realm as a pro? Did you just tell me two of them?
that one, the one where we ran like 4:01 for the mile, I think I was so excited about how good it went that I didn't really feel that bad. But I'm trying to think of a workout where like it just hurt and it killed.
I saw John Rivera when he first joined was doing his classic laying down on the track. He had
Dude,
just run with Brandon and he was like seeing stars.
yeah, not gonna lie to you, dude. Like the workouts that we do, like I think
It's big boy stuff.
it is big boy stuff. I think if I was healthy all year long, and all year long doesn't mean like as a season long. So from October to September of next year, if I was totally healthy, I think I would have crazier workouts that I would tell you right now. But because I've been having like small and like minor like inconveniences in my training here and there that are scattered around, I haven't really gotten the chance to like, fully do
Yeah.
these hard workouts. But
You're also
uh,
like tapering for a
yes,
race or recovering and then
yeah.
tapering for the next.
But the 800 guys do the craziest stuff that I've ever seen in my entire life. They are legitimately just fast.
Just
They're
ripping all the
insane.
time.
Watching them do some of their workouts, like especially Miller, like holy shit.
Yeah.
It's just like you watch it and it kind of gets you excited. You're like, oh my God, this guy's gonna run something unreal. And he does.
Dude's a dog.
Like he's a 143 guy.
142, right?
Is it 142 or 143?
No, he ran 143 in the NACAC.
And he
And
ran
I think he won. Did
143
he
at
run
USA.
142 at trials or did he run
I thought he
143?
ran 143 low. He might
I
have ran
thought there were like
142 high.
I thought there were like six guys from USA who ran 142. One of the two. Either way, still ripping.
Regardless, I've seen that guy do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know how good Isaiah is, and I know how good John is, and like Kidder as well. All those guys I just named, they're 144 guys, you know?
And you're looking
And
at him and
just see Miller just with them the whole workout, and then comes the last rip, and this guy just gas them, and you're like,
dude.
Jesus,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like it's so impressive.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to watch. And in a way, it's like it's a pleasure to be at practice and witness all this stuff week to week.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things where it's like a dad lure.
Yeah.
You just like later down the road, you're like, yeah, guys, you can't believe the shit that I saw when I was
Yeah.
like, professional runner, just like seeing
Also,
Miller and Isaiah Harris and Kidder and like John Rivera, like just battling it out there. And
yeah.
yeah,
Is gonna
it's
have some
fun.
stories for his
Because
kiddos
I'm
and
just
days.
yeah.
Yeah, you also watch Brandon Miller and you're like, well, can't be a bitch now. I gotta go do something.
Yeah.
So you just named a ton of studs that you race with. One of my questions I had written down was when you line up for these races these days, it's against the best of the best. Only a small fraction of athletes get to the collegiate level, and then only a small fraction of those athletes move on to the pros. How on top of your game do you have to be at every single meet that you go to? Is there any room for error?
No, you can't mess up, man. You really can't. And even when it comes to like, staying on top of your supplements, staying on top of your nutrition, um, anything that could give you even 1/3 of a second, you got to do. Because like you can't line up in a race and know that somebody is has an advantage over you in some type of way. Obviously, dopers are dopers. I don't know. Can I
Yeah.
say fuck them?
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
'em.
fuck them.
Yeah.
Those people just like worthless in a way. They should just be banned for the rest
Yeah.
of their fucking life.
They're
I
taking
I don't
money.
care.
They're taking money from
It's
people.
not even about the money, to be honest with you. It's just about like
Integrity.
integrity and just like being honest and being a decent human being. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of messed up. But the stuff that are legal to do, bicard, fucking taking your vitamin D and so on and so on. Like that stuff you have to stay on top of because you can't let somebody have an edge on you when it comes to stuff like that. Um, so yeah, you really can't mess up. You have to stay on top of everything. You cannot be lazy. You can't procrastinate. You got to sleep as much as you're supposed to. You got to eat as much as you're supposed to. You got to take the supplements that your body really needs so that when you're, coming up to the track, you could be at least somewhat near 100% because nobody's ever really 100% lining up at the track. There's
Yeah.
always something that's hurting. So
Yeah. That's interesting because I think everyone knows they should get enough nutrition, they should sleep 8 hours a
yeah,
night, they should roll out, they should stretch. But what are some like specific ways that you intentionally recover, do the things outside of the actual running that you think are really beneficial to you. And that doesn't only come from the physical, using the Theragun, doing the
Yeah,
pre-run stretches, all the little things like that. It could also be in the form of spending time with people that you love on Saturday so
yeah,
that you're really enjoying your life, so that you don't look at running as a chore,
yeah,
things like that. How do you intentionally recover specific, like get specific? Because I want people who are listening to this to be able to listen to the call and then go start doing something in their training that they can implement and learn from you.
yeah. I'd say the first thing that you should do is enjoy it. Because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, it's never gonna go good, and you're gonna absolutely hate it, and then look back at your life and be like, why did I even do that? And I enjoy what I do. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that I'm a professional runner. I love the places that I've gone to. I love the people that I got to meet because of it. And it's in a way, it is my life. So, and it's hard to kind of like separate it and go do something completely different. That's not really like, oh, I'm gonna do this. So like, I don't really like think about running because it's
24/7.
24/7 for me.
Yeah.
That's my job. And like we get paid enough to not have a second job so that we could do the whole recovery stuff and so on and be ready for the next, day workout or run or so on. But like but like I said, like I enjoy it. And when it comes to like doing other things to kind of like take your mind just slightly off of running, and that is just hanging out with your friends and so on. Whether it's like playing Catan or, just watching a movie together or doing whatever together. Like us as a team, we find ourselves together outside of practice quite often. And when other people outside of our team come up to us and be like, your team seems like it's a lot of fun. You guys are always hanging out together. You know that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, and we're not doing this to just like fake it and put it on social media and so on. Like, no, we genuinely do just enjoy hanging out together and constantly spend a lot of time with each other. Everybody's got their own like little hobbies that they do, and they're always like welcoming other people to come in and join them, do that stuff with them. So,
Yeah. The culture of the team does seem like it's in a really good place and
yes,
everyone's always having a great time. Are you do you think you guys could be a little bit selective about, who joins the team, maybe whether their focus is in the right place, or if someone gets a new boyfriend or girlfriend and starts to come around, if they could be a bad influence? Are you a little
yeah.
selective, or is it just, yeah, the more the merrier?
I mean, obviously, if somebody goes and finds a significant other, you can't really be selective about that, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of just,
Yeah.
that's something that's personally, you kind of like do your own thing with that. And we're always welcoming of, everybody else's like significant other and like, the whole hangout part that I was telling, it's not just the team, but it's also like significant others, whether that's the teammates or even the coaching staff. They bring in their kids with them or they
Yeah.
bring in, their spouses and so on. But like when it comes to like bringing in somebody into the team and being like a teammate, I'd say we are selective of that because you want to bring in somebody that fits in the puzzle, and is going to contribute into the team outside of just their performances. Um, because the last thing you want is to bring in somebody that's gonna destroy everything.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'd say we are not very selective, but just like any job interview, you want to hire the right person.
Yeah. Tell me all the recovery tools that you use. And this can be quick, from physio to rolling out
Yeah.
to stretching to ice baths to nutrition to the whole nine yards.
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes to like using tools, um, or like physiotherapists and stuff like that, like I do acupuncture like
Oh, okay.
once a week or
Even
once
if you
every other
don't have
week.
any certain hot spots or tightness, you'll just do it anyways.
No, I tend to only have like the hot spot
Wherever
here and
the
there.
hot spot
Yeah,
is.
wherever the hot spot is, it's
Yeah.
usually like, and it's either like lower back, like hamstrings or like calf is where things
Yeah.
usually tend to pop up. And then we do like massage therapy, something that we do. Chiropractor. We're lucky to have like a deal with a chiropractor where we could just go whenever we want and get treatment. And then we have a physiotherapist that travels with us all the time. and that's really nice to have. And then outside of that, like stuff that I just do by myself, and it's literally the whole suitcase that I brought in with me. It's
Yeah,
just, you
it's
know,
a lot.
it is a lot. It's I have a Theragun. I use obviously a lacrosse ball to like roll out with as well, a foam roller to roll with this. And then I have a Normatec boots. And then I have the Hypervenom, which is like a heating pad. Sometimes if like I feel my back like locking up a little bit and needs a little bit of heat, you know, I'll just stick that in there, heat it up, and then just like roll it out and usually tends to like loosen up. I have
Stretching rope.
Yep, I have a stretching rope. And that's just, you know, just usually like do like straight legs, and like stretch out the hamstrings and kind of like the groin. And then I have a really like thick green band, and I usually use that for like my ankles or like my hip, trying to like, you know, separate the fibular head from the the hip bone. So that way I can, you know, have the full range of mobility that I could use. Um,
Any ice or sauna?
we do sauna for heat adaptation, especially in the winter. We do that, like and like leading up to like the early outdoor races. Some of them usually are like in really hot places, and we live in Seattle. You know, it's usually cold up to like April and May, it's still kind of like lingering between like 50, 60 degrees. And then the places that we go to do races, whether it's like in Phoenix or in LA, sometimes the temperature could be up to like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
So usually like after working out on Tuesdays or Friday, or usually like off on Mondays and Thursdays, you'll find a few of us like in the sauna for usually somewhere between like 15 to 20 minutes. So
Ice, you were never a fan of the
ice,
cold
I
water.
do not like ice. No, no, I'm not a fan of ice. Cold water. But we did do this thing the other week before I came into Europe. And it was like this breathing exercises, and it was like you get in the cold tub for like 3 minutes, hot sauna for nine, cold tub 4 minutes, hot sauna for nine, cold tub for 5 minutes, and then in sauna for like 20 minutes, you know, just in the session. And
Yeah.
throughout the time you're in the cold tub, this I forgot what his name was, but he's the owner of this establishment that we went to. He's like walking you through this like breathing exercises and telling you when to hold your breath, when to like let go, and so on. Which is similar to what you
Inhale
do, I
on
guess.
counts,
Yeah,
exhale
yeah,
on
yeah.
counts. Yeah.
Yep. So, and I got to a point where, man, I felt dizzy at the end.
Yeah.
I just like kind of like felt like I disassociated from the world, and I was like in a completely different realm. And I was like, what is going on right now? But
Yeah. You may have been low on oxygen, or you may have been in a deep meditative state and started tripping.
I think I was just lack of oxygen, to be honest with you.
Any sleep tricks or hacks that you've learned over the years? Obviously, we were talking about we listen to bedtime stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, this just feels like iPad kids in a way, where we're just like fan. Usually I can't sleep without a fan or the noise of a fan. And then another thing is like, I wish I could sleep without it. Maybe the same for you, but like, you know, YouTube, you just listen to any random boring YouTube
Yeah.
video for like 30 minutes and you just get knocked out immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know how that started or when it started, but I want to let it go, but I can't let it go because I'm like, I need to fucking sleep,
Yeah.
you know? So, but there's really no tricks that I guess I gained throughout the year. I mean, other than just like blue light. And it's real.
Like
Try and
a
like,
couple hours
yeah, yeah,
before.
a couple hours before. Like I have it on my phone automatically. It kind of like switches to that yellow screen mode thing.
Yep. Night shift.
Literally every day at 6 p.m. immediately switches. So that way, and I try to like stay away from like TV. I'll just usually just like hang around and do random stuff. And if
Bird
I'm,
watch.
well, I can't really bird watch at night, can you?
If not in Chicago,
But yeah, no, just you know, blue light is a thing. It really is. And you know, try and like by the time like 10, 11 o'clock comes in, sit in bed and just like wait it out. And usually by 11:30 I'm like asleep. And then every day at 8 a.m. is when my alarm goes off.
how do you approach diet? I saw you had a Coke earlier. Is that just once in a blue moon whenever you're feeling like it, or do you drink sodas? What's your relationship with nutrition and food?
Yeah, barely drink any sodas, dude. I think the only reason I'm drinking soda right now is because USA is way behind me.
Fair.
So
Yeah.
this is now where I kind of like just relax with everything, and
Which is when a lot of people
racing.
run their best. Ole Miss
Shockingly,
Franklin,
that's
USA.
always one of my PBs.
Yeah.
That's when I'm just like, doing
Yeah.
whatever.
It's
But
because you
no,
run free.
probably, or just not a lot of stress on your head.
Yeah.
But no, like I nutrition wise, we work closely with our team nutritionist, Dr. Kyle. And he kind of just like sets out a perfect nutrition plan for you, of how much carbs you're supposed to eat, how much protein you're supposed to consume. And then
Is he just giving you the macros and you're deciding whether you're going to do chicken or sweet potato in order to get those carbs, or is he giving you recipes?
he at some point we kind of were doing recipes, but I think we got to the point where like I hope that's what it is. It's like he knows that I'm a good cook.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just gonna let him do his own thing. But there was a time where he would like try to help you out. If you didn't know what to cook or so on, he would like send you recipes or you're supposed to cook. But it's usually he'd be like, all right, this is how many cups of rice you need to eat. And that's all like based on your weight and the type of events that you do and how hard your training is. And everything is supposed to like fuel you and get you to your optimum level and ready for whatever you're supposed to tackle down, whether it's run or workout or whatever it is. And yeah, like obviously like I eat breakfast before I run. All of us do. You kind of just have to do that. That way you have the fuel to help you through your run. And then like immediately after I run, within an hour, we try to like consume food or a protein shake. Because that's when your body's gonna absorb it the most. And that's basically just like a recovery tool for the next day run. And that's, you know, eating enough food is as much recovery as like, hopping in like the Normatec boots or
Yeah.
using your Theragun or rolling out or so on. You can't just do one and not the other. You're gonna have to do
Yeah.
both together.
Yeah, it's also like people want that extra 1%. They want the new red light therapy, but really, if you're looking at a pie chart of the things that are going to help you in recovery, it's like 80% of it is sleep and calories, and
Yeah.
then the other 20% where those little marginal gains come in,
Yeah.
they're like the little things. Are you still doing a ton of pasta? You had pasta like every other night in college.
Dude, I don't really eat pasta much. I don't know I think I might have burnt myself out in college. I just
That's
eat,
fair.
I went back to what I did my whole life basically is rice.
Yeah.
So just make a bunch of random like rice dishes here and there. But then when it comes to like, the time to lock in, and for us, easily enough, locking in means we're at camp.
Yeah.
So when we're in Albuquerque for a month, you go there and you're like, all right, this is it. Like
Eat, sleep, run.
everything else, like everything has to be optimal right now. So I just basically like, as boring as it sounds, you just cook the same thing over and over again because that's really all you need. Is like, this is enough food.
Yeah.
This is what
You're not eating for your taste
yeah,
buds.
I'm not
You're
eating for my taste buds.
for
I'm
your
eating
muscles.
literally, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's all what would be in the cabinets too. Like literally, well, apparently I snack the most on the team. Cap.
Yeah. Lots of hummus, I remember.
Don't really eat that anymore
What
too.
do you snack on?
Um,
Leftovers?
no, not really. I usually snack like beef sticks,
Yeah, that's a
cheese
good one.
sticks, uh, popcorn.
Not a bunch of chips or
No, dude, I used to eat a lot of sour gummies.
yeah.
I still crave them, but I'm not gonna do it until like my time off.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna get. Try to buy 2, 3 bags a day or something.
Yeah.
They're so good.
They're really crazy. Get some gummies.
Dude, it's so
Um, okay. Well, this has all been super valuable and valuable for the audience, but it's also been awesome just to get a look into the details of your life and training schedule. I've got three more rapid fire fun
good. Okay.
questions. One of them may be a little bit of a longer answer. You have a 50K ultra marathon coming up. Are you
Yeah.
nervous?
No, I'm actually so excited for it.
What's the goal?
Sub 4 hours, which I think I could easily do.
You definitely could easily do that, especially because it's on a flat log road.
Yeah.
What is the motivation behind trying that?
Um, ever since I turned pro, I just come up with this where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try and do something cool for my birthday every year. Just something different that I've never really done before, but didn't do on my birthday. So the first year I went to New Orleans and then
Sugar
drove.
Bowl, was it?
No, that would have been New Year's.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was September is when I went. I went to New Orleans, stayed the night there, and then rented a car and drove up to Mississippi, watched a football game, drove down to New Orleans, and then flew back to Seattle. So it was
Short
just
trip.
that just went on like a little trip down there, and ate so much gumbo and jambalaya.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
good.
not the best nutrition in the world.
It's so good. And then when I went to Ole Miss, I went to Taylor's Grocery.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, oh, it's
So
so
good.
good. But yeah. So I did that my first year, and then the second year, which was last year, yes, I went to British Columbia, went to Vancouver Island, me and my friend Bashir, and we were up in Tofino, is the name of the town. It's like a surfing town, and it was just raining so hard, but we were camping, and me and him, it was like 8 p.m. We're in the tent, and we're just like talking about like random stories and like giggling, and it's just like we're all just like so wet, and it was like can't believe this is like my
My
birthday
life.
night, you
Yeah.
know? But I was like, this is sick. I've never done this before, you know?
Yeah.
And then yeah, this year I was like, let me go and do 50 mile. I wanted to go to Tokyo. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
But that didn't work out. So I was like, I'm gonna find something else to do. And then I was like, why don't I just like do this right now? So did that.
What's something you learned in your 26 year of life on this earth?
Oh, oh my God, there's so much that I learned. But I'm trying to think of like the one thing that basically like sums all of it together. And honestly, it's just stay connected with the friends that you've made. I'm so bad at staying in contact with people and just like keeping up, like, once a week or once every other week or so on. That like the older I get, the more I'm like, I need to do better at that. I need to do better at that. I need to do
Yeah.
better at that. Because it's like I've only been in the US for like 11 years, and every friend that I've made has been somewhat in a way around running. And like I'd like to say I'm still in contact with a lot of people that I've become friends with, but I'm guilty that I'm not in contact with the friends that I had when I was in Jordan, and just kind of like we just went our own different ways, and like I became a little bit more Americanized, and running kind of consumed my life, and that took away from that. So I'm just like, you know, trying to not let that happen again, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I think guys are particularly bad at that.
Yeah,
And it's like, it's effort is what it
yeah,
is. And typically when you do make that phone call to your buddy, you're like glad it happened. But before it, you're never like, yeah, I get to call Waleed
yeah,
today and catch up. And then it's really bad when you get like a pair of friends like me and P Scott, where we both just like do not like we just don't text. We're
yeah,
just not gonna text each other, hey man, how you been?
yeah,
But beauty in that is like when we do see each other, it's like just like old times. Kind
yeah.
of like me and you this weekend.
Yeah, literally haven't
Um,
seen you since your wedding. Yeah, literally.
yeah.
Peace Scott, I saw him last year at Portland Track Festival. Randomly, I was like, "Holy shit, Peace
Dude, the
Scott, bro,
legend.
what are you doing here?"
You
Like,
didn't even text him, just
literally,
happened to see
I
him.
just happened to see him. And the last time I saw him was when we all left for COVID. When like COVID hit,
I went to
I've
Montana
not.
with him
Yeah, yeah.
and
Literally have not seen Peace Scott since he called me in September of that year. He's like, "Yo, Waleed, like." Do you mind going and moving my stuff out of my room? I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm supposed to move out like next week. Could you go and like grab my stuff and leave it at your garage? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I'll just go tomorrow morning. He's like, okay, cool. Like, I'll tell my landlord. I go up
need like
there,
an 18-wheeler
bro.
his whole
No,
life.
didn't need anything. I went in
Oh
there.
wow.
The apartment was completely empty. The
Wow.
only thing I found was this bib number that said Parker Scott.
Of course.
So I called, I was like, yo, there's only a bib number. He's like, oh shoot, it was last week that I was supposed to move out. This later just threw everything away.
Damn. Oh well.
Yeah.
Tough shit. What's your favorite city you've been to or traveled to or raced in as a pro?
Can I choose
Besides
this?
Amsterdam.
I was gonna say, can I choose a city I live in?
Yes.
Seattle. I love Seattle.
Yeah, you said that a
Seattle's
lot.
so
That's
much
true.
fun. It's so much fun. I always thought Austin was the best city that I've been to in the US. Then I
It
went to
is.
Seattle. I was like, damn, this is actually so much fun. I think the longer I live there, the more days I spend there, the more I like, start to like it. But I don't think that's fair because it's where I live. So if I'm gonna pick somewhere else that I've raced that I
Wait, hang
really
on.
enjoy,
Okay, wait, hang on. Before we move
yeah.
on, I want you to do this exercise for me. I want you to say, if you love blank, then you should move to Seattle. Speaking to someone who you think Seattle would be a really good fit
Yeah.
for. If you love what, then you should move to Seattle.
If you love outdoor activities, you should move to Seattle.
Okay.
Whether that's like being underwater, hiking, or whatever. Like
Mountaineering,
literally, we have
fishing.
it all.
Yeah.
All of it. You like cycling? The best city in the US for cyclists.
You like cold rain for 9 months of the year.
9 months of the year. It starts like November and then it stops in March.
How do
March
you
is
how do you go through those seasons?
well, I think
without getting severely
obviously
depressed.
the first thing that people say about Seattle is like the Seattle freeze when you move in there. It's hard to make friends because like everybody just kind of like keeps to themselves in a
Yeah.
way.
Same with Amsterdam, big
Yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah. Like literally, if you get in an elevator with somebody and you say like, "Hey, good morning," and like they just put their head down
Yeah.
because it's just the way it is.
And they're locals and they don't
Yeah,
need to
literally.
lend their hand
It's
out for
weird.
a
I know.
visitor.
It's
Yeah.
so weird. So that's the one part that I said that I didn't really like about Seattle. But like the easiest way to make friends is doing something that you enjoy doing with other people, and then you kind of like start building,
Yeah.
your web that way.
Yeah.
And I
Run.
say, yeah, literally running was kind of like my way of like making friends. I
Yeah.
became friends with my teammates, and then my teammates' friends, and then yada yada and so on. You kind of start expanding from there. But like, yeah, like it's hard if you don't have friends in Seattle to go through the whole weather situation. It's tough.
Yeah.
But I'd say I'm lucky enough to have like people to hang out with and like lean on and kind of have as an outlet from the whole weather situation. I mean, we complain about it every day. Going to practice, like, fuck, it's raining again.
Yeah. Haven't seen the sun in 2
You
weeks.
know, literally, it's like, I'm not seeing the sun in a while. January apparently is where it's at worst. But that's when we're like, you know, get out of there and we're in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
A little bit sunny, but way, way colder.
Yes. Okay. Last question. Mr. Steely Dan fan. What's the current go-to? Yeah, wearing the shirt, of course. What's the go-to pre-race song right now?
Pre-race song right now. It's actually not Steely Dan, oddly enough. It's just listening to Hootie and the Blowfish.
Always
I
keeping it
know,
nice and chill.
literally Hootie and the Blowfish, and it's Crack Rear View.
Yeah.
Is it Crack Rear Windshield or Crack Rear whatever?
Whatever.
That
Yeah.
that album. It's pretty good.
Doesn't it suck listening to music that's like bang your head against the wall before a race?
Well, that's how you get really nervous. You know,
It's how you
you
get
kind of get
anxious.
like
Yeah.
mentally exhausted because there's a whole like oh like physically exhausted, but like becoming mentally exhausted, you're not really gonna be able to think clearly and tackle the race and execute it how you plan to do so. So because when it comes time to like switch the plan and you got to do something completely different, like your mind is so foggy and you're so exhausted that you're not really gonna make the right decision. So or quick enough to like
Yeah.
react to what happens.
Or you've
So
gotten your adrenaline to spike too
yeah,
early.
literally,
Yeah.
just keep the adrenaline for the race.
Yeah.
But before the race, just talk with your teammates, talk with your coaching staff, just
Chill.
it's just another one, I've
Yeah.
done this before, I've done hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's been a pleasure, my friend. I think my audience is really going to find some value in that video.
hey guys, I actually got to a point where I kind of forgot that we're doing this.
Where can they find you? Waleed Suliman on Instagram.
I'm very much active on Instagram. Waleed M. Suliman. And then Strava, Waleed Suliman. And then that's about it. I don't really have anything else.
You'll also be able to find them on my page.
Sweet.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah.
Peace.
That was awesome.
That was